Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 6th round of the 1966 season, the German Grand Prix. It was held on the 7th of August, it had 30 entries, 27 of them took part in the race with 15 ending up retiring. The race consisted of 15 laps completed in 2 hours, 27 minutes and 3 seconds. Clark started the race from pole but retired on lap 11 after an accident. Surtees started from 2nd, Stewart 3rd, Scarfiotti was 4th on the grid. He retired on lap 9 after the electrical system in his car failed. Brabham started from 5th and Bandini was 6th on the grid. After a superb drive, Brabham moved from 5th into the lead of the race and won the German Grand Prix from Surtees, who kept his position and finished 2nd, 44.4 seconds after Brabham. Jochen Rindt climbed up from 9th to 3rd, he was 2 minutes 32.6 seconds behind. Graham Hill went from 10th up into 4th and was 6 minutes 41.4 seconds behind. Stewart dropped from 3rd to 5th, he was 8 minutes 28.9 seconds behind. And Bandini kept his starting position to round off the top 6. He was 10 minutes 56.4 seconds adrift. The fastest man of the race was John Surtees, who posted a time of 8 minutes and 49 seconds. Here we are once again at the fantastic Nordschleife circuit, where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a tight left-hander that leads straight into turn 2, a tight right-hand hairpin. This takes us onto a long straightaway, ending with turn 3, a medium-speed left-hander. Later on we come into a dangerous medium-speed right-hander. Be very mindful of your speed, as you could easily end up hitting the foot of the bridge on corner exit. Later still we come into a tight and narrow left-hander that goes over a bridge. Extreme caution is advised through here. A few corners later we come into another tight and narrow left-hander that also crosses a bridge. This leads into a slow right-hander that goes up a hill. Be very careful with power application, especially as you reach the top, since it is super easy to use too much and spin the car. Eventually we make our way into the carousel, brake hard and aim for the second tree from the right. Take it easy and try to keep the car in the bowl. Later on we come into the mini carousel. This is slightly faster, but care should be taken nevertheless. This leads into a long right-hander that takes us onto the longest straight in Formula 1, which ends with a fast left-hand sweeper that brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Nordschleife circuit. And here we are in qualifying, coming through this little sequence of corners where I kind of go off a little bit of the track. I hit something with my right wheel that flips the car upside down, and that is pretty much it for our qualifying session, so that didn't go too well, but hey, hopefully the race will go a little bit better as we take a look at the previous Grand Prix winners in Germany, and we did in fact win the previous 2 Grand Prix here, so here's hoping that we can do just as well today here. And we have Brabham on pole with Jim Clark in 2nd, Mike Parks is 3rd, 4th is Lorenzo Bandini, followed by Jackie Stewart in 5th, and rounding off the top 6 is Jochen Rindt. Then in 7th we have Denny Holm, Graham Hill is in 8th, in 9th we have Richie Ginther, followed by Joe Siffert in 10th. In 11th we have Bob Bondurant, followed by Ludovico Scarfiotti in 12th, Mike Spence is 13th, 14th is Bob Anderson, 15th is Joe Bonnier, followed by Peter Arundel in 16th, Dan Gurney 17th, 18th is Chris Irwin. In 19th we have Geki Russo, followed by John Taylor in 20th. 21st is John Surtees, followed by Moises Solana in 22nd. 23rd Pedro Rodriguez, followed by Phil Hill in 24th. In 25th we have Guy Ligier, followed by Trevor Taylor in 26th. 27th is Chris Amon. 28th Chris Lawrence. 29th Ines Ireland. 30th Giancarlo Baghetti, 31st is Ronnie Bucknam, and obviously Andy Higgs in 32nd, who failed to qualify for the race. But that is the grid lineup for today's German Grand Prix, and hopefully it is going to be a good race. Obviously we retired from pretty much every race except for the Belgian Grand Prix, so it would be very nice to at least finish a race here, and we are off. I tried to get around Ronnie Bucknam there, but he kind of puts his car in front of me, so I cannot do that. And then as I try to get up past him again, he for some reason he decides to drive into me, and pushes me off, but we managed to get around him, and we are now up in 27th as we come through the hairpin. And it looks like everyone is very slow through here, so I decided that I'm not going to wait for everyone to get around, and so I'm going to try and get through the hairpin as fast as possible. And we move up into 24th, so that's quite nice. That's almost 10 positions already, which is very, very nice. As we take a look at a replay of the start, there we see Ronnie Bucknam kind of cutting in front of me, but we get around, and there he is doing it again. But actually this time it was a bit warranted. I'm not sure who is in that blue car, but wow, he kind of forced Bucknam to drive into me, unfortunately, as we come into the hairpin here. And again, as I said, I was kind of tired to keep waiting for the AI to get through, so I decided to go as fast as possible through here, and that allowed us to gain a couple of positions, which is always very, very nice. Anyway, we move a little bit later as we come into turn 3 here, and I tried to get around Guy Ligier there, but he kind of almost drove into me, so I had to go wide and off the track, which meant I lost a couple of positions. However, later on I caught up to Chris Amon, and I overtook him for a brief second, but then he managed to keep his speed on the outside, so he gets around us again, and which means we are still in 26th. However, as we move a little bit later on, I managed to get around Geki Russo and Guy Ligier, who for some reason decided to stop right in the middle of the corner there. I crashed into him, and we moved up into 24th. I didn't really want to do it that way, but if that's what he wanted, then okay, whatever. Later we come around a little bit later on. I managed to overtake Chris Amon as well for 23rd, so doing a little bit of progress. And we jump a little bit later on as further along, and we overtake Moises Solana for 22nd. Then we overtake Pedro Rodriguez for 21st, and we're looking at John Taylor, sorry. Hopefully we'll be able to overtake him as well, and indeed we do, as well as almost overtake John Surtees as well there, but it looks like he had more speed on the outside. However, the cars for some reason are very slow through this following section, and we managed to overtake a couple. We move up into 17th, and now we are overtaking Bob Anderson for 16th, and we pass a few more cars, and we move up into 14th. We are right next to Mike Spence. Hopefully we can overtake him as well, and not just yet, but a little bit later on we get around Mike Spence and Jackie Stewart for 12th. So we're doing very well here on, and this is still the lap 1, so I'm doing a lot of progress. And we come through this left-hander, and we got on the outside of John Surtees there. Not a very good idea to overtake through there, but somehow we managed to stay out of trouble, and we even gained a position. A little bit later on we overtake Scott Fiotti for 10th. I go a bit wide, touch the fence on the outside, but the car is still intact, so that's okay. And we have Bob Bondurant in front of us, who overtakes Bandini at some point, and we also overtake Bandini now for 9th as we come onto this very long straightaway, and we have Bondurant once again in front of us. We overtake him as well just before we cross the bridge there, and we have Graham Hill in front of us. Hopefully we can overtake him as well. However, for some reason he decides to stop in the middle of the road on a very fast section of the track. I wasn't expecting that. I crashed into him. I tried to keep the car going, however I spun around and my engine died, so that is the end of the race for Andy Higgs, unfortunately. Once again, another retirement. That's not very good. I didn't want this to happen, but that is that, and that was a replay of that incident there. And we now take a look at a replay of Guy Ligier coming around towards the end of lap 1 and entering the pits to retire for whatever reason, and so is Jackie Stewart. So those are the first 3 retirements of the race. Not very happy with this result, but hey, who would expect someone to stop in the middle of a very fast section of the track? I wouldn't, so to each his own, I guess. Anyway, Later on lap 2 here, we see Chris Amon coming around this tight left-hander. He crashes into the bridge there, loses his front left, and he's out of the race. As we take a look at another replay, this time of Ronnie Bucknam also coming into the tight left-hander. He gets stuck there and he's out of the race. At the end of lap 2, we see Scarfiotti coming into the pits to retire, and so does Dan Gurney. So those are 3 more retirements to add to the list today, so yeah. Anyway, we move on to the end of lap 3 and we see Chris Lawrence coming into the pits to retire as well. I'm not quite sure what's happening or why the AI is retiring, but that's okay, whatever. And here we are still on lap 3. We see a replay of Richie Ginster coming through this left-hander. He stops his car right in the middle of the track for whatever reason, and he's out of the race, obviously. And now we have a replay of Jochen Rindt, who will also retire. So, coming out of the carousel here. Not quite sure what's happening at the moment. Oh, he just pulls to the side and he's out of the German Grand Prix. Now here is a replay of Denny Holm at the end of lap 4 coming around to set the fastest lap of the race, so congratulations to him. He did very well, I guess. But, oh well. I don't really know what to say, really. Anyway, we now move on to the final lap, in fact. And we see Joe Sifford there pulling over to the side for some reason, and he's out of the race as well. As we jump to the end of the race here, as we see Jack Brabham crossing the finish line to win the 1966 German Grand Prix. So congratulations to him. Graham Hill finished 2nd, Bandini 3rd, 4th, Denny Holm 5th, Jim Clark, and Bob Bondurant is 6th. So congratulations to Brabham and Denny Holm for posting the fastest lap of the race. Here are some more retirements. Once again, Joe Sifford retired on the final lap of the race, so he is actually classified as a finisher. And here are all the retirements. Unfortunately, once again we number ourselves among them, which isn't the best thing, especially considering that we only managed to finish a single race this entire season. But anyway, let's move on. And here are the career statistics. This was Andy's 147th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 16 pole positions, has set 27 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 95 races, 74 of them in the points, has won 43 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 8 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 507 points, has retired 52 times, has experienced 3,120 out of 3,853 laps, has 7 bronze trophies, 16 silver trophies, 43 gold trophies, and as an extension, 43 podiums. And now here's a quick look at the championship standings. Jochen Rindt still leading the driver standings with Bandini in 2nd, Graham Hill 3rd, Jim Clark 4th, Bob Anderson, Andy Hicks 30s, Brabham and Denny Holm all fighting for 5th. Bob Bondurant is the last person to score points, down in 20th, and bringing up the bottom of the standing is Phil Hill down in 32nd. And yes, we have already started to drop points, so that's going to be interesting. But what's more interesting is there have been 6 rounds already, and we had 6 different Grand Prix winners this season, which means that if everything goes well in the final 3 races, Andy Hicks could still have a chance to win the championship. But that's only if, well, everything goes well and we win the final 3 races. I don't know if that's possible at all, but I guess we shall see when the time comes. Anyway, let's move on to the constructors now. And here we have Ferrari in the lead, Cooper our 2nd, Brabham Racing Organization 3rd, Owen Racing 4th, 5th Team Lotus, DW Racing Enterprises and Bruce McLaren Motor Racing sharing 6th. The last team to score points are Team Chamaco Collect in 14th, and bringing up the bottom of the Constructors Championship are Amon Racing down in 19th. So that was the German Grand Prix. Once again, another very disappointing race for Bruce McLaren and Andy. That's the 5th retirement out of 6 races, so not a very good season at all. Hopefully things will change in the final 3 races because, well, this hasn't gone all too well, really. So a bit of change would liven up the mood, I guess, at Team McLaren. But that is it for this video. Don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, stay sharp.